teaching accessibility, teaching concepts of merit-based hiring, coaching, life coaching. There's a number of different things that you could hire me to do that I would excel at. Hire people based on their individual strengths and based on how they work.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this installment of the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast dedicated to the disabled community where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud. I hope your Christmas was wonderful. I hope your new year will be as wonderful as your Christmas. And today I have an amazing guest with me who has an absolute different attitude, and I feel like it's a wonderful attitude when it comes to people with disabilities. She's a wonderful woman that I just met a couple of weeks ago. We're working on another project together. I'm so excited to have her. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the badass Angela Fowler. Angela, thank you so much for being here on Nick Speaks. How are you?
Well, I'm gonna change my title from CEO of Real Life Access to the badass of Real Life Access.
Yes, do it.
So it's happening. It is happening as of right now.
Yes, because I just met you a couple weeks ago, and I thought, and the lady that we're working on the project with was like, you guys are going to be fantastic together, and she was right. She couldn't have been any more right. I love you to death, and I've only talked to you a period of 3 times.
Yeah.
I love you already. So, Angela, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll just go from there, and we'll have a normal conversation. Have a good time.
Right. So I am Angela Fowler, the one and only badass of Real Life Access. I live in Northern California, but don't you dare hold that against me. I am the single mother of an 18-year-old boy child and a bunch of fur children who have the important habit of making obnoxious noises during podcasts. I'm a homeowner, work full-time, run my own business, barbecue the best tri-tip on God's planet.
Oh, God, I got to come to California and price.
Yeah, you got to come to California. Is there something I'm forgetting? Is there something I'm forgetting to tell the audience?
Oh, yes. Okay. She is a fan of Daddy Trump. And
that wasn't the... I forgot. Oh, yeah, I'm blind. I forgot to mention that.
Oh, God. Did I screw it up?
I should have warned you.
Oh, God. Well,
in Nick's defense, I didn't even know I was going to do that until I started doing it.
Okay. Well, when you said I'm in Northern California, don't hold that against me.
I was going there. Well, okay.
Yes, I thought you were going there.
Okay. That was what's it called in literary? That was an Easter egg, but I wasn't planning on it hatching quite so soon. But that's okay. You know what? All cards on the table. To heck with it.
Okay. Well, we just talked about this on the air. We just talked about this before we came on the air, and Angela compared coming out as a Trump supporter as about coming out as gay, to be honest.
He's having me, people.
So, and that is almost true, except a lot of Trump supporters are Christians, as am I. And, being gay is frowned upon in the Christian community. But, it really is almost the same thing because Trump supporters are hated. So, anyway, before we get in trouble and get us kicked off of Apple Podcasts, which if we do, bye to everybody. I want to talk about you. So you said you are the only badass that works for what?
No, the one and only badass of Real Life Access, which some of the people that work for me might challenge me on that, but, they can have their own podcast episode to do that.
So what is real life access? Is that your own business or is that your what?
Right. So real life access, we teach companies how to make their products and services accessible for people with disabilities and user friendly for everybody. Not because the government says so, not because they're doing a favor for those disabled people over there, but because there is truly a human benefit of accessibility and there's a financial benefit to the company.
Yeah. Because then then you're able to hire disabled people because your company is accessible.
An accessible company combined with a merit-based hiring philosophy means that people with disabilities get a fair and equal shot.
Yeah, and that's what we need. So what? I guess we're going in this direction, and I told you this is just a conversation, so we can go any direction. So what inspired you to start that business?
I had a mindset shift. And we joked around about politics, and I'll get to that because there are some genuine, there's a genuine reason there, a genuine heartfelt reason. In 2021, well, no, let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to the winter of 2020.
Okay.
The dark, old, stormy winter of 2020.
The long, dark winter.
The long, dark, and stormy winter of 2020.
Yeah, that's what they called it.
When everybody lived in the deep, dark forest with witches and warlocks and all those things. Well, my finances at the time were in the deep, dark forest. I was drowning in debt. There was more money going out than coming in, and nights that actually consisted of 8 hours sleep were extremely hard to come by. I needed to do something. I needed to get myself out of that situation and into a better job. And besides that, the job I had... Am I in your way, Whiskey?
We're dealing with dogs here, folks.
Well, he wanted to get under my desk, and there wasn't enough room, so he was gently but firmly pushing his way past me.
Oh, well, dogs will do that.
Yeah, like excuse me, Mom, excuse me, coming through here.
Yes.
Yeah. So, anyway, but I yielded to the big fur face, and now he's happy, so we can go on with our lives.
That's good. That's good.
The jobs that I had gotten previously had been either because of a job program for disabled people or because I knew somebody that worked in the company. And I knew that neither option was going to work this time. I needed to go out there and get a job on my own.
Yeah.
So I updated my LinkedIn profile. I got my resume updated, and started applying for jobs in accessibility because I'd boned up a lot of accessibility. The technical aspects of accessibility and WCAG and all that shit. And in January of 2021, I got an interview, and I almost didn't go. I almost just sloughed it off. It was Monday of a holiday weekend.
Oh, God.
Exactly. I was feeling discouraged. I was just feeling depressed and discouraged, partly because I'd just gotten an email from a company that I'd had high hopes for, saying we selected other candidates.
Oh, Lord.
That means they never give you any helpful information when they send you those letters. But anyway, but I did. I something told me, stop whining and go to the damn interview. So
yeah,
I showered up, combed my hair, put on a nice shirt, combed my hair again, and went to the interview. And a month later, I was hired. And the job they talked to me, they found out what I could offer the company, and they actually crafted a job because they needed what I could offer. So they crafted the job to fit my strengths.
That's awesome. And that's what we need a lot of employers to do. We need I heard a statistic, Angela. I don't know if it's true. Maybe you can verify or disverify. Somebody in my TikTok, on my TikTok comments, said one time, gave me a statistic that said over 90% of people with disabilities are not working. And if that statistic is true, I believe part of it is due to employers will not give. They just look at our disability and be like, bye. Because one of the things that I say all the time is that people with disabilities take time. You can't throw us in a normal 9-to-5 job with a 2-week training and say, okay, do it yourself. What do you think about that?
I think it depends on the person with the disability. Remember this: if you've met a person with a disability, you've met one person with a disability. A lot of people with disabilities, given a more accessible environment, given an accessible environment, can just jump in and do the job. Some people need a little bit more training, need a little bit of a longer on-ramp. And
so what you're saying is it depends on the person, and not every person with a disability is a Christian.
Let me just bring it home here, because some people that don't admit they have disabilities need a longer on-ramp too.
Yeah, because, not all disabilities are visible. So, and some people may be afraid, and they may say, well, if I tell them I have a disability, I may not get the job.
Well, and I'm of two minds about this, because on one hand, in my case, my disability, my lived experience was actually an asset.
Yeah.
For that job. But, if they're going to not hire you just because you have a disability, are they really a company that you want to work for?
Absolutely not.
There are plenty of other companies that you can apply to, and it takes 100 no's to get to yes sometimes.
Yep.
People quit the job search too early. I can't even count the number of jobs I got rejected for before I got hired in 2021.
Wow. Yeah. Well, what do you think about, like, for example, I went through a 6-hour test where they were having me put little pegs, probably the size of a grain of rice, and a board. It was a time-sensitive thing. And I'm thinking, this has nothing to do with what I want to do.
Yeah, well, what's the purpose of that?
It was a time-sensitive thing, I guess. It was a kind of something that the job of developmental disabilities department.
One of those rehab-funded job placement programs.
Yes. The one here in the state of Ohio.
Right.
And it was so pointless. And by the end of that 6 hours, they told me, the person that was contracted through the government agency told me that because I couldn't do these things in a timely manner, she could not see. She kept saying to me, Angela, I'm looking at you in the world of work. And I'm looking, that's all she kept repeating. And she kept saying to me, there's nothing that I can see that you can offer an employer.
This is why government-funded programs are failing.
Talk about it.
They have a script that they must follow. They have a set of regulations, a set of criteria. There's no room for out-of-the-box thinking. There's no room to say, well, okay, maybe you're not good at putting, microscopic pegs in microscopic holes within a certain time frame, but you're going to be a hell of a good podcast creator.
Yeah.
And this is what, as people with disabilities, when we come of age, oftentimes we're pushed into two things. Figure out how to get on SSI and go through the Department of Vocational Rehab.
Yeah.
Both of those things are highly substandard. Someday in the future, not right now because we're not there yet. Someday in the future, I would like to see people with disabilities not need those programs anymore.
Yes.
I want to see a day when we can just get rid of them. Now, everybody, chill. We're not.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a long way to go, but we need to do this right. We need to advocate in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And that is through merit-based hiring.
Now, when you say merit, it's based off of what they can do, correct?
Do you think anybody's going to hire me to drive a semi-truck?
No.
Probably not, right?
I mean, I will say there is a pilot in America who doesn't have any arms and flies with her feet.
Oh, someday the technology will be there and society will trust the technology. So, but that day is not today.
Right.
But teaching accessibility, teaching concepts of merit-based hiring, coaching, life coaching, there's a number of different things that you could hire me to do that I would excel at.
Right.
So you hire people based on their individual strengths and based on how they work. There is a theory. It's called working genius theory. And basically it says there are 6 phases of work. There's the wonder phase, which is basically questioning old assumptions, asking the questions that lead to the inception of a project, right?
Yeah.
There's the invention phase, which is basically coming up with all the ideas. There's the discernment phase, which is determining which ideas are good and which ones suck and refining the good ones. That's one that I'm good at. There's the galvanizing phase, which is getting the people to get behind you. There's the enablement phase, which is basically empowering your team. And then there's the tenacity phase, which is dragging a project to the finish line.
Yeah.
People are good, according to this theory. People are good at 2 of those phases. They excel at 2 of those phases. They are reasonably competent at 2 of those phases, and they're horrible at 2 of those phases. The problem is that a lot of times people with disabilities get hired for jobs that are repetitive and that require enablement and tenacity.
Yeah.
Even if their geniuses don't align with that, as mine don't. My first actual job that wasn't for a relative was as a directory assistance operator working for Verizon.
You mean people would call you?
I was that girl. I was that girl. What city and state, please?
Really? Oh my God.
I was that girl.
Okay, I'm going to tell on myself. So I was like 15 years old or something, and I got fascinated with directory assistance. So I would call 411. I hope my mother is not listening to this. I would call 1411 because in some states it's 411, other states it's 1411. So I would call 1411 because I would get fascinated with looking up people's phone numbers and getting people's phone numbers that I knew because I wanted to call them.
You were a directory assistance nerd.
Yes. And so back then when you would be charged.
You'd be charged. Oh, man. Yeah, your first few calls were free, and then they charge you.
Well, no, none of my calls were free. No.
Oh. Well.
No. This was back when everybody had home phones, And yeah, and so I made 101 directory assistance calls.
You couldn't stop at 100. It had to be 101, right?
I had no idea. I would just call there every day, 2 or 3 times a day. And I remember exactly what I was eating. I was eating French bread pizza in my bedroom, and my mom came in on the phone. That look of, I'm going to beat you senseless. She was on the phone. I think it was with MCI at the time. And she was like, did you call directory assistance 101 times? I was eating pizza and I just took a bite and I just held it. Was like,
we gotta get your mom's side of this story.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, she probably won't come on my podcast, but I somehow wiggled my way out of it, and then I got in trouble a year later for the same thing. I made 66 calls.
Okay, see, this is our fault, right? This is why our sons, and I'm talking to all the boy moms out there, this is why our sons are so incorrigible, because we let them get away with shit when they're cute and innocent.
I don't know what age I was. I may have been younger, like 10 or 11. I said I was 15, but I may have been younger. But yeah, I was. Oh no, my
son knows exactly how to manipulate you. Trust me, he does. Mine is 18, and he still knows exactly what buttons to push.
They were not. My parents were not easily manipulated. They just wanted to know who made the 101 411 calls. And I had access to the phone because I was a lonely cripple. And for those of you who just freaked out because I called myself a cripple, chill.
Oh, you know what? I would rather people go around saying cripple, retard, handicap, all those other words than to refer to people with disabilities as PWDs.
What's PWD?
It's an acronym that the disabled advocates use to refer to people with disabilities, and it is more dehumanizing than all those words combined.
You know, you said something interesting there. We'll get back to the 411. Maybe we won't, but because that's pretty much all I got out of it. I got out of the 101 calls and this.
So many sons before you and so many that have come along since.
Well, see, the 411 calls was my version of, did you watch pornography? So, and the pornography was a lot harder to get rid of than the 411 calls.
Oh, man.
But I want to go back to something you said, because you just said a whole bunch of words that trigger a bunch of people, especially the R word, retard. And I'm going to go ahead and say it because I have a different feeling when it comes to the word retarded.
We need to inoculate the population against the R word.
Yeah. So we need to get rid of that population or what?
We need to have an R word vaccination. So we need to say the R word at least once every 3 months. So we need to have an R word vaccination schedule.
Oh, okay.
So that they're used to it.
Oh, okay.
Don't get so
Well, because here's the thing, Angela. When I grew up, the word retard was like another word for stupid. It wasn't
that's a dumb thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, now would I typically go to somebody with a disability and say you're a retard? No, I wouldn't do that because different people have different thoughts on the word and different feelings. But just because different people have different thoughts on certain words and certain phrases does not mean that we need to eradicate it for everybody. You just don't say it around the people that you know are sensitive about it.
My dear mother uses the word handicapped. I just have to smile.
Handicap.
Yeah.
Well, see, I don't like all these new words, and we talked a little bit about this.
Me neither. I could go the rest of my life without hearing differently abled, and it'll still be too soon.
And I don't have disabilities. I have abilities.
Ability, yeah, differing abilities. What the hell does that mean?
I have no idea. My mom is going to hate this podcast of mine if she does listen to it because there's so much cursing in it, but that's okay.
Hi, Mom.
No, like she don't listen, so it's fine. But yeah, it's just so all these words of differently abled and
They don't have any real meaning. They are, when you try so hard not to offend, you lose the meaning of things. You lose the true meaning of things. Things become ambiguous.
yeah.
We've gotten to a point in our society, and thank God the trend is reversing. But we've gotten to a point in our society where we can't call things what they are. And when we don't call things what they are, we're not clear in our communication. Things lose their meaning. Things lose their significance.
You're amazing. I'm just all of you.
We use disability because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that you're disabled or lacking ability in a practical sense, but legally speaking, it's a freaking disability. Let's call things what they are.
Yeah. Well, and I tell people all the time, Angela, the first part of the word disability is dis. I mean, we get to diss people.
We get to, yeah.
Hello.
I tell people, don't diss my ability.
Oh my gosh. That is perfect.
Which, it is. It's a play on the word.
Don't diss my ability.
Having a disability, being disabled in a legal sense, in a medical sense, it does not mean that you are less able. It doesn't mean you're less capable. It means you do things differently. It means maybe there's some things that they still won't hire me to be a truck driver. Okay.
But maybe you could be the person on the CB radio.
The rule, right?
Yeah. But maybe you could be the person on the CB radio that says, hey, get your ass on the,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why has your ass not started driving?
Yeah, exactly.
Or, you take a trucking company, there are all kinds of jobs that blind people can do. Driver is not one of them.
Yeah. No.
If somebody asks, what jobs can a disabled person do? That's taking the wrong approach. The right approach, it's better to ask, okay, let's assume that all the disabled people can do all the things until proven otherwise. And
that's great.
My application to be a truck driver falls in the proven otherwise category. It's the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah. Yep. So I want to ask you this question too. This is great. You're gonna be like a recurring guest because you and I just feed off each other. There's another question I want to ask you. So, growing up, what kind of support system did you have for achieving your dreams and goals?
That is a loaded question. So you mean like home support system, school support system?
Just, yeah. Did you, because I had it in neither. I didn't have it in family. I didn't really have it in school. Here's a crazy thing. I didn't even have it in church.
Well, church is another can of worms.
Oh, God. Yep.
Do not pray for me to be able to see. Pray for me to have patience and strength and grace.
Jesus.
Grace under fire.
Yes.
But if you pray for me to be able to see, I will pray for you to go away.
Oh, but now, why is that? Because I'm sure wouldn't you love to be able to see?
No.
Really?
Here's why. If I was suddenly able to see, I'd have to learn how to do everything the sighted way. I've been doing things the blind way for 40 years. I'd have to do everything the sighted way. And I don't know. I mean, it would be convenient. But it's not, okay, well, here's the thing. It's not necessary. There are so many things right now that you could pray for me to God to bless me with that would benefit me more than being able to see. The wisdom to approach marketing correctly, the wisdom, the tenacity to follow up with clients. I suck at follow up. The wisdom to be a good parent, to be a better parent to my son than I am. The patience to deal with just human beings in general, the grace, the ability to give other people grace when they make mistakes. You know, we make fun of people all the time, but the truth is people, they're dumbass humans just like we are. People make mistakes. Pray that God gives me the grace to, while I'm making fun of them, people grace when they make mistakes.
Make a point of that. We're not going to stop making fun of them, but pray for us that we give them grace.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make fun of you, but I'll give you all the grace in the world.
I love that. Oh my God.
We were talking about language policing, and oh dear God, the blindness community goes stark raving mad sometimes. Some people, I'm blind, and I fall into that category. I'm blind. I'm not visually impaired. What the hell did that even mean? But some people hate the word blind, and I'm not blind. I'm visually impaired, and I mean, there's going to be World War Blindy breakout over this. I say, look, guys. I am not going to try to police your language. But I reserve the right to make fun of you if you say something dumb.
That's awesome. Okay, so which brings me to another question. Did you hear about the lady who intentionally made herself blind?
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that was a bunch of years ago, right?
Yeah. How did you feel about that? She showed up on a show called The Doctors. You remember that show?
No.
It was a talk show that was produced by Dr. Phil. They did a bunch of medical shows. But you know what I'm talking about, right? The woman that made herself blind.
I know of the case because there was a lot of uproar about it in the blindness community. And there have been cases where people have wanted a limb amputated.
Yep.
Cases, it's the same thing. And I don't know. It's a psychological thing. I don't, what is causing this, this dysphoria.
Yeah.
This body dysphoria. I don't know.
Yeah. It's really sad, in my opinion, that somebody would want to take something that they had been given and take it away from them because they would rather be disabled. I mean, yeah, I'm like you. I couldn't see myself any other way.
Self-harm. It's self-harm. I don't think that
Yeah.
disabled state, quote unquote, is any less than the able-bodied state, but quote unquote again, but it's significant self-harm. So why would what causes somebody to want to do that?
Yeah.
I'm not as interested in the blindness per se as I am in the fact that there is a dysmorphia there. There is a drive to self-harm, to self-mutilate. Why? What is causing this?
What happened to make you want
What
to
went
do
so
something
wrong
yourself? Yeah.
in that person's life that they feel like they need to do that? Whether it, and again, everybody was going nuts about the blindness. I don't care about the blindness. I care about I care about the unhappiness with self to the point that they needed to self-harm to that degree.
Yeah. The emotional issue
Yeah.
goes way beyond the blindness.
And I think,
Yeah.
and I don't know, we're getting into some pretty thorny stuff here, but I don't think that works. I don't think the self-harm ultimately does what they want it to do.
Yeah.
Woo, we get deep.
Yeah. Yeah, we are getting deep. Well, I want to go back because
We're going from irreverently making fun of people to talking about this really deep, scary psychological thing.
Yeah, I want to go back because I asked you about your support system a few minutes ago, and then we went off into don't pray for me to get better, which is phenomenal. So what was your support system like? You said that was a loaded question, so I've given you some time to forget about it. So what was your support system like growing up? Did you find yourself having to fight to get people to support you?
Sometimes, yeah, it was a mixed bag. I think I was fortunate in that everybody did the best they could with the skills and knowledge they had. Were they perfect? No. But then again, I mean, what parent ever is?
Right.
There's some things that, could have been done different, should have been done different, Monday morning quarterback. Ultimately, if you are the parent of a blind or disabled child, find people who have the same disability and who are leading successful lives.
Yep. Listen, parents, say that again.
If you are the parent of a disabled child, find people who are successful, who have that disability, be it blindness, deafness, whatever.
Yeah.
Find people who are making a success of their lives and talk to them. Listen to them.
And don't. Right. Go ahead.
The medical professionals and many, if not most, teachers, so-called the special ed teachers, they don't know what it's like to have that disability. They don't know what people with disabilities are truly capable of. I had teachers that pushed me.
Yeah.
Some teachers let me get away with shit, but others didn't. And the ones that didn't let me get away with shit, the ones that pushed me to do what I was capable of doing, are the ones that really had the positive impact in my life. And I'll say one more thing.
Yeah.
If you're the parent of a child with disabilities, please do not overprotect. Do not.
Oh, God. Yep.
You know not the harm you do. I know you have the best of intentions. You're trying to look out for your child. You're trying to keep them safe. But really and truly, let them burn their hand on the stove.
Yeah.
Nothing a little cold water won't fix. Come on.
Yeah.
And if they do that, they're not going to make that mistake again. They'll be able to learn to cook.
Yeah. 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 Now, for those of you in the comments who are going to say, okay, you said let them burn their hand on the soap. Does that mean I should let them run out in front of a semi? No. Okay.
Why do people take a statement and blow it up?
Because that's what people do. They hear a snippet
on the internet. They take a true statement and turn it into something that is just a mutant version of its former self, even if that.
Right. I want to go back to what you said about having parents, get around other parents and other people who have the same disability. I want to say too, parents of special needs kids, adults, kids, do not get yourself around the parents who are in the same boat of doubt and negativity as you are. Because all that's going to feed is your doubt and negativity. You need to find somebody who has been in the same boat of doubt and negativity, but who has said, I'm going to get out of the boat.
Amen.
And I'm going to make this happen. It's not going to be easy, but I'm going to get out of the boat and I'm going to make this happen. And my adult child with disabilities may fall down a couple times, and I may not always be there to pick them up, but I'm going to give them the tools so that they can pick themselves up. So make sure you're around a lot of people who are going to encourage your son or daughter to live on their own, or encourage your son or daughter to learn how to cook their own food, or whatever the case, and feed into that. Because I say this all the time, even though you think you're going to be around for your special needs child every waking moment, you're not. And they need to learn to function without you. And they can't do that if you're going to be a helicopter parent all the time.
And I want to address another anticipated comment, right?
Absolutely.
Because some disabilities are more serious than others.
Yeah.
And keep gently pushing, keep gently encouraging.
Yeah.
Come at it with an attitude of, I'm going to help my child achieve their full potential. If their full potential is not living on their own, that will declare itself.
Yeah, it will.
But do not clip their wings.
Yeah. Oh God, that's good. Do not clip their wings. That's so good.
If you encourage them to fly and they can't fly, then they can't fly. But don't clip their wings.
Oh, good. And even if you're
way too many times.
Go ahead and say that. I cut you off. Go ahead and say that again.
I've seen it happen way too many times.
Yes. Yep. And, a lot of, I've been in contact with some special needs parents, and they say their kids can't do these things, not because they know they can't do them, but because they've been so protective, they won't allow them to try.
Yep.
And a lot of times, parents go off of all the negative stuff that the doctor has said. And the doctor said it must be gospel.
Can I make a sweeping generalization that will apply in 95% of cases?
Absolutely.
When it comes to disability and the capabilities of people with disabilities, your doctor is full of shit.
I love you. I love you. That's a mic drop.
Oh, man. And people, yeah, you're right. Because the doctor is supposed to be the authority. They had the umpteen years of college and the 69 letters, MD, PhD, whatever. But they don't have any real life experience with disability or people with disabilities. Now, there are exceptions.
Yeah.
I've had eye doctors come to me and say, how do I need to give people something hopeful. If they're going to go blind, I need to refer them to somebody, so they can learn how to live a full life.
Yeah.
I wish more doctors had that attitude. I really do. I don't want to shit on the medical profession, but they make it so easy.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And I gotta let this stuff. This damn dog has had his head on my lap for the last 10 minutes.
Oh, let the people see your dog. If the people will come.
He's like 100 pounds. If I lifted him up, well, let me see if I can. No, I'd just screw up the camera if I tried.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself and don't screw up the camera.
Don't screw up especially don't screw up the camera, right?
Yeah. Well, so Angela is going to, I think she's going to get her dog. She's walking off camera right now. But wow, this has been such an amazing eye-opener for me even, because you have such a different attitude when it comes to disability, when it comes to life as a person with a disability. And I'm so glad to have met you. When you come back, hopefully we'll be done with our project so we can tell everybody about it. Because you are coming back. I have a feeling you'll be one of the most popular guests that I've had on Nick Speaks.
We can make this, we can make this a habit. We can definitely make this a habit. Is she not letting us talk about the project yet?
I don't think so. Let's just say I haven't even met with my producer to work on it yet. But I have worked on it. But he's doing some other things with it. So
let me just say this. We have a very strict deadline by which time we need to have our portions of the project turned in.
Yes.
She has posted. In fact, I make fun of her because she posted about the deadline at least 50 times over the past few weeks, right? So I'm like, okay, what's the deadline again?
Yeah, I don't know why she did it for right after Christmas.
Because everybody's asking her.
No, I don't know why she did the deadline for right after Christmas. That's crazy. But anyway, we'll talk about that.
And I've almost got my part of the project done.
Well, I think I've got my part of the project done. We just need to shape it up a little bit. So hopefully I'll be working on it.
There you go.
Today.
We'll get it done.
With Kyle, my producer. Anyway, this has been so much fun. Any last parting words for the Nick Speaks audience?
I just want to say one thing.
Yeah.
People with disabilities or anybody. If you are not satisfied with your life and the way things are, nobody is going to save you. The government isn't going to save you. Your mom, as much as she loves you, isn't going to save you. The only person that can save you is you. And the good news about that is that you can save you. Be the hero in your own story.
Yep.
Ask yourself, What can I do today? Even if it's a small thing, even if it's going out and spending some time in God's sunshine, what can I do today to make my life better?
My God, I love it. Yeah. Because she's right. Even if your mom and dad love you, and there's some special needs parents, unfortunately, that don't give a shit about their kids. Nobody is going to save you. But you know what a lot of people are going to do? They're going to blow smoke up your ass to make them feel good.
Oh my God, you are so amazing. You can get up in the morning and put clothes on?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay, here's the thing. We said we're going to go, but we just went another area. But so we're going to spend a little bit more time. But here's the thing.
I definitely have a hard stop. I have a 10:30 interview, so let's make sure that I...
Oh, what time is it now? Because it's
9:55 a.m.
9:55. So I do want to take a break between. So we got about 10, 15 minutes.
10, 15 minutes. Okay. So, and by the way, it's 1 o'clock here because I'm in Ohio and she's in California.
You East Coaster never did know what time it was.
One of the things is that a lot of people are going to blow smoke up your ass, disabled community, and they're going to say, I can't tell you how many job offers that I've been offered, and I've gotten so excited, and then at the last minute, they cut me off, or they make a bunch of excuses as to why it won't work, or, something just happens. You're going to have a lot of people make you promises, and you're going to end up disappointing. You're going to end up disappointed. What you have to do is pick up yourself by your bootstraps or by your wheelchair tires, whatever you want to say. And what's that?
Yeah.
What did you say?
You pull yourself up by the wheelchair, whatever.
Tires. Yeah.
And I said, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take that cane and long white cane and use it as a pole to just pull yourself up on.
You're gonna have to, and be sure not to take all your clothes off. It's public indecency.
Oh, the pole! Oh shit! I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Yes, you did, but that's okay. This is what I do. So, listen, disabled community, before we go, you have to realize you're going to have a bunch of people blow smoke up your butt. And you have to decide. I'll say it to you this way. My brother Josh is one of my biggest supporters, and I was on the phone complaining to him about everything. And finally, he said, Nick, you can either do one or two things. You can sit on your ass and watch old episodes of Judge Judy every day, because I'm a huge Judge Judy fan. Or he said, you can start making phone calls and figure out what it is you need to do to make your life better.
Yep.
And for those of you who say, well, my mom and dad aren't going to support me. Well, I would say that to my brother Josh all the time. And he would say, look, your mom and dad are going to say all kinds of things. But until you come to them with a solid plan and say, this is what's going to happen, and until you start putting that plan in motion, they're just going to look at you and say, it's not going to happen. And even when you do put that plan in motion, they're going to probably say that to you anyway, because some people are just assholes.
Yeah.
So if it's as small as making a phone call to your local job and family services and saying, what can I do to start getting services in my state? I want to live on my own. It may be as simple as a phone call to get the ball rolling to change your life. But until you make that happen, your life is going to stay the same.
And speaking personally, I have a lot more confidence. The insecurities that used to plague me are almost gone. They still flare up from time to time, but I can I can control them. Like, oh, you again. Okay, go away.
Yeah.
But I'm a lot happier. I'm a lot more confident. I'm a lot less bothered by stupid mistakes I make.
Yeah.
I know that regardless of what happens in the world with the government, in California, with this crazy California government we have, in my hometown, with my family, with my friends, regardless of all those external things, I know that I have the power to affect my own life. I know that I can, and I can't tell you I'm a different person. I'm not the person you knew in 2020. If you knew me in 2020, I'm not the same person. I can't tell you how liberating it is.
Yeah. Yep. It could start as simple as a phone call, folks. Pick up that phone. Well, Angela, this has been wonderful. You've got a meeting to go to, and this has been wonderful to do. I want to thank everybody for listening to this episode, listening to this crazy banter. It's fun. You've been one of the funnest guests that I've had so far. So, besides my good friend Daniel Rivera, who was on last week, was very fun. And so thank you so much. And for those of you who want to email Angela or anything like that, we'll have all of her information in the show notes. So be sure to go look for that. And if you want to email me to be on the show or just to comment, you can email me at nickspeaksofficial@gmail.com. And I will see you guys next week for another episode of Nick Speaks, the podcast dedicated to the disabled community, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud. See you next time. Bye-bye.